Aline had worked at the Carrion Inn for nearly 2 years before she even noticed room 104. It sat at the far end of the east hallway on the ground floor, past a half-lit vending alcove and a storage door no one ever seemed to unlock. The hallway was narrower there, the wallpaper slightly different, a faded floral pattern instead of the usual dark blue. It always smelled faintly of iron and mildew near that part of the building. She thought nothing of it. Every old hotel had its quirks. That much she knew because the cleaning staff had a shared logbook with every checked-out room circled in yellow highlighter. In 2 years, no one had ever highlighted 104. No guests left towels on the floor or coffee rings on the nightstand. No one called down to the desk to complain about the AC or ask for more soap. When she asked her supervisor once, she was met with a flat response: out of service. Plumbing issues. That should have been the end of it. But Aline couldn't ignore how sometimes, while passing the east hallway during her shift, she'd hear something. A soft hum, a knock. Once, what sounded like quiet talking. Not loud enough to catch words, but definitely more than silence. She brushed it off until the day she found the door slightly ajar. Just a crack, not open enough to see much, but the latch had definitely not caught. She approached slowly, pushing her cart ahead, and placed her hand on the frame. The room smelled clean. Not like bleach or air freshener, but neutral, pleasant. Like freshly laundered sheets and light dusting. That was odd. If no one cleaned it, who was maintaining the space? She nudged the door just enough to peek inside. The lights were off, blinds closed, but daylight filtered in around the edges. The bed was made perfectly. Not with the usual housekeeper touch, but with crisp, unnaturally smooth lines. The pillows were fluffed and symmetrical. No TV remote, no menu cards, no signs of dust or use. The kind of room you would expect in a demo brochure, not in a lived-in hotel. Then she saw the tea. On the desk sat a steaming cup, still releasing curls of heat, and beside it, an old room key, not a card. A brass key with a leather tag reading 104 in faded numbers. She stepped back and let the door fall closed. That night, she asked the front desk clerk, Henry, about the key. He looked confused at first, then uncomfortable. "We haven't used brass keys in years," he said. "Management changed the locks after the renovation." "When was that?" she asked. 1998. Aline didn't sleep well. The next day, she avoided the east hallway entirely. But on her break, she found a folded paper napkin tucked into her cart's top drawer. It simply read, "Thank you for not coming in." She didn't show anyone. She didn't speak about it again. But over the next week, it escalated. Her cleaning assignments shifted. Rooms on the opposite side of the hotel suddenly moved to the east wing. Her keycard began unlocking doors it shouldn't once. When she pushed the door, it opened onto 104, even though she was on the wrong side of the building. The room was empty, or seemed to be. On the bed was a single envelope addressed to her. Inside, a photograph. It showed her cleaning her own cart from behind. She was alone. But in the reflection of the vending machine behind her, a second figure stood just over her shoulder. Smiling, she dropped the photo. When she looked again, it was gone. No formal meeting, just a quiet word in the hallway. "We've received reports," the general manager said carefully, "that you've been accessing rooms not assigned to you." Aline explained what happened. The manager's face tightened. "Room 104 is sealed. It has been sealed. If your key opens it again, don't enter." She wanted to quit. She considered it every day that week. But she didn't. Something in her needed to understand. Not for closure, but for clarity. As if the room had invited her in, and she was halfway through a conversation, left hanging. One night, unable to resist, she returned to the east wing. The door was fully open this time. No lights. Inside, the room had changed. The bed was unmade, the blinds drawn. A single suitcase sat near the dresser, partially open, as if someone had just stepped out for ice. The TV was on, static, and in the middle of the room, written on the mirror in red marker, "You've already been here." Aline stepped inside. The door closed behind her, silently. It was supposed to be a quiet, final week. After 40 years cleaning rooms, restocking tiny soaps, and tucking in corners tighter than anyone else on staff, Marlene was ready to leave the hotel behind. The management gave her a gold pin, a cupcake from the bakery across the street, and a warm but forgettable thank you speech in the break room. She smiled through it all. Didn't need the fanfare. She just wanted to finish her last 5 days with dignity, with routine. And the routine was sacred. Every evening, she started on the 3rd floor, working her way up to the 7th, the top floor of the old hotel. It was never busy. Most guests stayed on floors 2 through 5. The top floor was reserved only during overbooking, and lately, even that didn't happen. Still, the logbook always listed a single room occupied on 7. Room 719. The front desk printed a label every morning. Guest still present. Do not disturb. She never saw the guest, never passed them in the hall, never saw a tray outside the door or heard the shuffle of movement within. But the room always showed checked in on the sheet. For months, years, maybe. On her second to last night, something changed. Room 719's status didn't say, "Do not disturb." Instead, it read, "Clean for new arrival." She stared at the line for a long time. That room hadn't needed service in over a decade. She almost asked the desk clerk to confirm it, but decided not to draw attention. Maybe the system finally reset. Maybe someone had canceled the permanent block by accident. That night, she knocked on the door. She unlocked it slowly, pushed it open, and was immediately hit by a sensation she couldn't name. Not a smell, not a sound, just a pressure, like the room had been holding its breath, and her entrance had broken the seal. Inside, everything was pristine, not just clean, untouched. The way rooms looked in brochures before a single guest ever disturbed the symmetry. The bed was made with hospital corners, even though no one had been assigned to it. The furniture was dustless. Not a fingerprint on the mirror or remote. On the desk was a guest book, old, leather-bound, faded. She approached it slowly. The pen beside it was still uncapped. She flipped through the pages. Names, signatures, handwriting from different decades. Some shaky, some bold. All of them dated in reverse. The most recent names were from the 1980s, 70s, even earlier, but no year past 1991, until the last page. There, in clear black ink, Marlene, T-719. Cleaning staff, she blinked. She hadn't written that. But it was her handwriting. She dropped the pen. It clattered loudly, too loudly for such a soft room. The sound echoed unnaturally. She turned to leave, but the hallway outside looked darker, longer. She stepped into it anyway. At the elevator, she pressed the button. Nothing happened. She tried the stairs. The stairwell door led to another hallway. Same carpeting, same wallpaper, but not the same floor. She returned to the front desk, heart pounding. No one was there. No phones, no bell, just silence. And the logbook on the counter opened to today's list. Every room was blank, except for one. 719 guest. Marlene T. checked in. She turned and ran. Back upstairs, back to room 719. The door was already open. Inside, the lights were dimmer, the air colder, and the bed was no longer made. A suitcase, her suitcase, sat at the foot of it. One she hadn't packed yet. The guest book was gone. But something had been scratched into the mirror in small, neat cursive. Every housekeeper eventually checks in. That was 2 days ago, and Marlene hasn't clocked out since. Ethan didn't mind traveling alone. In fact, he preferred it. No coordination, no small talk, just him, a quiet hotel room, and a full weekend to do nothing. He picked the Carrion Inn because it had decent reviews, a 24-hour check-in desk, and, according to the website, no record of anything unusual. That last part mattered more than he'd admit. Lately, he'd been feeling like something was following him. Or maybe it had already arrived wherever he went. He booked room 212, second floor, corner, non-smoking, and arrived late Friday night. The woman at the front desk was polite, if a little too cheerful for 11:42 p.m. She handed him his keycard without much talk, then paused and tilted her head slightly. "That's funny," she said, glancing at the screen. "This room was just cleared, like someone just checked out," he asked. She hesitated. "Something like that." The elevator was slow. The hallway empty. His room opened with the usual beep, and inside, everything was standard. One bed, one lamp, one big mirror above the dresser. He unpacked quickly and went to brush his teeth. That's when he saw it. A receipt, folded neatly on the bathroom counter. It had the hotel logo at the top, and it was time-stamped from the morning before. Thursday, 8:16 a.m. Ethan D. Same spelling, same initial, but he hadn't been there Thursday. That wasn't possible. He brought the receipt to the front desk. The night clerk looked at it, confused. "We don't print these anymore," she said. "Everything's digital. Who gave this to you?" "No one. It was in my bathroom." She tapped a few keys. "Nothing's showing for your name until tonight." He asked to see the room history. She said that wasn't allowed. Back in his room, the TV wouldn't turn on. Instead, the screen glowed faintly gray, like static without motion. When he looked away and back again, the screen was off completely. He woke at 3:13 a.m. to the sound of footsteps, not outside, inside, slow, carpeted, coming from near the closet. He turned on the light. No one there. The closet was open half an inch. Inside hung a single black coat, not his. In the pocket, he found a hotel keycard, room 212, guest, Ethan D., issued Thursday, 11:09 p.m. He hadn't arrived until Friday. The card worked when he slid it into the slot again. The lights flickered. The mirror across from the bed had a smudge he hadn't noticed before. A handprint. Left side, fingers long and slightly spread, like someone had been leaning in. Or out. He didn't sleep the rest of the night. In the morning, he went downstairs and asked the day clerk to confirm his check-in. She pulled up his record, frowned, and said, "Strange. It says you're already checked out." He stared at her. "Checked out? Yes. You arrived Thursday and left Friday morning at 8:15. That's not true. I just got here. She tilted the monitor so he could see. There it was. Ethan D., room 212 check-in, Thursday. 11:09 p.m. checkout. Friday, 8:15 a.m. He was living in someone else's booking. He left the hotel by noon, but 2 days later, he received an email. No message. Just an attached invoice for a one-night stay. Guest, Ethan D. Date. Next Friday, 2